Hey guys, Ezra here and welcome back to another Final Fantasy 7 videos, and I think on today's video I want to talk about the update for the First Soldier story. Now I know this is like a very late video, I plan to make this on December, but I feel like at the time, Christmas is coming and there is something else going on in my life, so I thought that, well, I might, delay, the videos, because I mean, not many people talk about it, unlike the first, chapter one, I guess, where some people do talk about the lore of, First Soldier, and the second episode just kind of like went by and seems like no one really talks about it, so I thought, that, oh, okay, well, I guess there's nothing much happening, on the chapter two, and I just actually recently watched it, like actually yesterday, I just watched this episode yesterday, so I thought that, well, I might as well give an update for this one, because like, well, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth PC version is gonna be released literally next day, as I'm making these videos, so I thought that, well, might as well make it now, as when people are getting back to play Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth again on PC. I thought that would be a nice time for me to make this video, and yeah, I think for chapter 2, I think there is some interesting plot point here about the Masamune sword, and I guess about Wutai, and I guess we learn more about the Robio village, that we learn more about our location, but at the same time, it wasn't super, like big revealing plot point or something like that, no, because it's only chapter 2, but it does set up some interesting plot point for the future chapter, so let's just get straight into it, because like we are following Sephiroth, Angeal, Alisa, and then the cameraman again on Robio, and then Bachman, I think that's his name. So they all continuing their journey, because Alisa wants to finish her mission, and throughout the mission we learn about the history of Robio and Igara, which is what the place is called before they were named Robio, because 2,000 years ago there is like that is a giant fiend, or like a giant monster that was like using fires or breathing fires, and Alisa actually the one who told the story about this, and she said that they can't exactly say the name of the monsters, because it was like a curse, and it was revealed that 2,000 years ago that is five brave souls that basically drove the fiend or the monster away from their home with scorching fires, and then they basically, I think they managed to kill the monsters, but sadly the monsters' flame or fire are too much, to the point that the fire is actually burning Igara, for I think for 3 years straight, and then these people, that the survivor of Igara actually move away from this location to the northern side of the planet, essentially, which is kind of like the northern crater, or at least like heading towards the northern crater, and then this is where they became Wutai, so we get some sort of like origin story for Wutai now. I'm also curious to see if we're going to see this like big monster, that again, Alisa never mentioned what the big monster was, is it actually Ifrit? I think it's possible that it might be Ifrit, but again, it's just a theory, we don't know at this point, because like they don't really say the name of this set monster, but the point is they defeat that, and that's where they move on to Wutai, and after some time, there is a new people that basically stays in this basically land, that's already been burned down by the monsters, and this is where they become Robio village, and of course, because at this moment the plot kind of like changes focus on the Masamune sword, because like in the village, Masamune is actually like the best swordsmith, and then he decided to design the Masamune sword, and then there is some point in this game, where they actually traveling deep into this forbidden zone of the Igara, because like people are afraid to see the history of it, and then eventually there is some illusion, I guess you could say that, some vision that plays right in front of our characters, where we see the history of this Igara Forbidden Zone, or I guess like the fall of Robio village, and it was revealed that the reason why these villages are destroyed is because the people are actually destroying themselves, and of course, what's the reason they destroy themselves is because the Masamune sword, because Masamune, the guy, not the sword, the guy who made the sword. I know it's kind of confusing, but the guy who made the sword actually make this as the most powerful, sword, the best of his work essentially, and that power basically corrupt the rest of the Robio village, because everyone tried to claim the Masamune sword, to the point that Masamune himself feel threatened by existing in this village, to the point that I think he start burning down the village themselves, and there's even a visual in the game, in the chapter where he basically kills a bunch of the Robio villagers, and then he burned down. And this is obviously, eerily similar to the Nibelheim incident, where obviously Sephiroth burned down Nibelheim with the Masamune sword, So it's kind of like history repeating itself, So we witness this village being destroyed by the Masamune, and I think it's kind of interesting here, because it seems like the Masamune sword might have some might be actually, sentient. I think this sword might be alive in a way, because after they hear the story, Sephiroth actually start to feel affected, I think, by the sword, because like there is a moment in the game, where Sephiroth and Angeal actually have to fight Masamune himself, and then I think Masamune himself was actually got corrupted by the sword, because you can see that his arm is like burning up, and it seems like he was a demon. I think that's what it was called in the game, where his name was actually Demon Masamune. So it seems like he was possessed by the sword, So whatever's happening in this area, the sword actually became sentient, which is like really weird, because I thought it was just like this is just like an original story for the Masamune sword, and how Sephiroth is going to get that, but I didn't expect the story to actually go to this direction, where it seems like the Masamune sword are actually sentient, and it seems like it was controlling Masamune, the person himself, that's why he turns into a demon, and I think that's interesting, and after they defeat Masamune in the battle, Sephiroth actually become like super enticed by the sword, to the point that he won that sword, because like he actually said that, oh, the sword actually calls to me, and then I think the line was like, oh, like I need to get that sword, to the point that Sephiroth becomes super obsessed, about the sword, and I think that's kind of interesting, because like they just met, like this took place in the very same day, yet Sephiroth became so obsessed for getting the Masamune sword, because like he's claiming that the sword is actually calls to me, the sword actually calls to me, Sephiroth, and it yearns to become mine, so I think, wow, I did not expect that, to be honest, because I thought that Sephiroth is going to defeat Masamune and then he's just gonna get the sword, but it seems like he's gonna be really obsessed from getting the sword, and I think that's interesting. And it's weird that he also said that I'm trying to get my sword back, to the point that, wait a second. And Jill was super confused by this, because like Masamune, like again, Sephiroth never actually own or wield Masamune, because this is the first time he basically saw the Masamune sword, but it seems like he has this maybe a false memory or something like that, because again he said that I need to get my blade back, and it seems like he's owning the sword, even though he never actually owned anything, about this sword to begin with. But again, for some reason, he started to say that word, so it seems like he was possessed or something like that, It's kind of like the Sauron ring from the Lord of the Rings, where anybody who basically hold the ring, they become super obsessed for obtaining the ring, and it was actually theirs, kind of like the Golem, keeps saying that my precious, so it kind of gives me that vibe, so it seems like the Masamune sword here are actually affecting people, including Sephiroth, to the point that he becomes so obsessed that he thinks that he owned the sword, so I think that's pretty insane in my opinion, yeah, so it seems like there is some mystery in this place, it seems like there is some entity or spirits that live in this place, because like in the end of the chapter, they actually encounter like some sort of a temple, where they're about to enter a temple, but Angel said, hey, we need to get some rest, and that's where chapter 2 ends, but it seems that there's going to be some big revelation on the next chapter when they enter the temple, because we have no idea what this temple is, but we just know there is something waiting for them inside, because it seems like this temple or like this forbidden zone is actually containing something, we never know what this something was, but we just know that there is something being contained here, and it's potentially really, really dangerous, and it might be affecting the Masamune, the person, and then Sephiroth here, so yeah, we're about to find out was this mysterious entity was, that live in the forbidden zone, So yeah, I mean so far that's like the main gist of the story of chapter 2, guys, So like I said, it might not be like a perfect reveal or like a big reveal for the future of Final Fantasy 7, no, but I do think this is like a very good idea for signing up the chapter for chapter 3 essentially, because we know that the Masamune sword might be sentient because it was affecting the creator itself, and then now it's creating Sephiroth, and then we also reveal that there is some mysterious entity or like some spirits or something like that that stays in this forbidden zone that we never know what it was, we all know that it was contained in this specific area, and we're gonna find it out in chapter 3, but before that, I want to talk about I guess the side mission, the side story here, where we get to see Sephiroth with Lucretia again, or I guess Genova here, because again, Hojo actually lied to Sephiroth that her name was Genova, but we all know that this person's name is Lucretia because, like, well, we probably watched the original Final Fantasy 7, right? And then we probably also familiar with the story of Dirge of Cerberus, which is the worst game in Final Fantasy 7 in my opinion, because that storyline was so cringy. But yeah, Lucretia was a big part of that game, and then it was revealed that Lucretia and Hojo was actually working together, So yeah, this side story with Sephiroth basically again further encouraging the fact that Sephiroth are just missing for a mother's love, that he never actually met her real mother, and I don't think Lucretia ever see or I guess like grow up with Sephiroth, because I think these visions are just, again, they're just hallucination created by the real Genova. That's my assumption here, because I don't think Sephiroth and Lucretia actually talk to another. So I think this is all just a vision that it was clearly made by Genova. So I think, yeah, that's interesting. We see where this storyline will go, because it seems that there's gonna be a big point in part 3, because I think in the next few chapters we're only going to see basically the same thing, between Sephiroth and Lucretia, or Genova in this case, And I think, yeah, I mean, that's all I can say about the Sephiroth storyline, guys. Again, nothing much happening in this chapter for Sephiroth, except I guess the obsession he has for the Masamune sword. But I think for Angeal's storyline, it's actually quite interesting, because obviously Angeal, we all find out that he and his parents are, basically he's trying to be the best soldier, for the family and his parents, and then he has a two obviously really supporting parents, and if you see his crisis core, we see that Angeal has a mother, but the father was actually nowhere to be found. So I think my theory, just like in the last episode of the first soldier here, it seems like Angeal's dad might he might get killed or die in the future. We have no idea where he was in crisis core, so I think my assumption is that something bad is going to happen to Angeal's dad, and I think that's gonna be like the one moment that's going to break Angeal, because Angeal in the first soldier, he's acting like Zack, so I think again it's like history repeating itself, with Masamune and Nibelheim, and then now with Angeal and Zack, where Angeal is like, in this episode in the first soldier, he was actually acting like Zack, he was super happy, he's willing to working together, and Sephiroth is like the brooding guy, like the cool guy that never talks to anyone and doesn't need anyone's help, and when we get to Crisis Core, Angeal became like Sephiroth, where he becomes super distant and like super brooding, to the point that he's like super distant with Zack. I guess kinda distant with Zack, because it was a weird writing in Crisis Core, he cares for Zack, but I think his dialogue are just super weird in that game, but Zack is obviously acting like a puppy in that game, so it's like, yeah, it's history repeating itself, and I think something bad is going to happen to Angel's father, and he's gonna get killed. But the one big moment that I think is kind of important here is that we actually get a reveal where Angeal get the Buster Sword, because the Buster Sword was actually given by his father, So I think we might get maybe we get some future lore for where the Buster Sword actually coming from, because so far it seems like to be passing down from generation to generation until eventually falls down to Zack and then eventually to Cloud, So I think in the future episode we might get some big reveal maybe for where the Buster Sword actually came from, like who actually first made the Buster Sword to begin with, And here's the thing though, like in for the Masamune sword, they actually was made by a guy literally named Masamune. So for the Buster sword, is it gonna be revealed that the guy who made the Buster sword is gonna be named Buster? I think it's gonna be kind of funny. Like, if the swordsmith, who made the Buster sword are actually named Buster. I think that's pretty funny in my opinion. So but we'll see what happens. It seems like there's gonna be maybe some bigger love for the Buster sword. I really hope it does. Because it is like the two most important weapon in Final Fantasy VII. So like we get the lore from Masamune. It's getting really interesting. So hopefully in the future episode they could dive deep into where the Buster sword actually came from. And is it the guy who made the Buster sword actually named Buster? Because that would be funny. But again, we'll see what's gonna happen about this. So yeah, that's my story recap, guys, for the First Soldier episode 2, chapter 2, guys. Like I said, it's a good setup for chapter 3. And I guess let me know in the comment section below, guys. Like, what do you guys think about this story right here? What do you guys think about the origin of Wutai? And what do you guys think about the fiend or the monster that basically destroy or burn their land? Like, again, in the game they never mentioned the name, but do you guys think that this monster might be Ifrit? So let me know in the comment section below. And also let me know, guys, about, do you guys think that the Masamune sword in this game are actually sentient? Because like that's the vibe that I'm getting when I'm watching this chapter 2 storyline, that it seems like the sword might be alive and it was affecting Masamune himself, and now it's affecting Sephiroth. And hell, it's the reason why the Robio villagers are like fighting each other because of the Masamune sword. So leading me to believe that the sword are actually alive somehow. And it might be related to this mysterious entity that was like trapped in this Igora forbidden zone. So yeah, let me know your theory in the comment section below, guys. And let me know, do you guys think that the Buster sword is actually made by the guy named Buster? Do you guys actually want that? Do you guys think that would be too cheesy? So yeah, let me know your opinions in the comment section below, guys. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure, guys, slash the subscribe and like button, guys. Share videos, do some stuff, and stay tuned for more videos in the future, guys. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis story recap. So and I stay tuned obviously for episode 3. I will be obviously covering that as well, per chapter. So until we see part 3, it may be in 2027. So yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.